This video is dedicated to Illy the kitty after hearing the news that she is no longer with us anymore. This video isn't really structured or anything, it's just sort of like a video I wanted to make just to pay respect to Illy the kitty and share my experience with Illy the kitty, how she became a big influence on my life, and as well as Drumsy as a whole. So this isn't a very this isn't scripted at all. I'm not scripting this. I just want to go over my thoughts and condolences and all that. Because if it wasn't for Illy, I probably wouldn't be the same person I am today. Illy is someone who I am very thankful for in my life. Her influence has certainly changed me for the better, and Drumsy as a whole. I remember waking up right when the year started, that being the very first thing on my For You page. Now, I lost interest in Drumsy around 2022. I stopped watching his videos, but I remember when I get videos recommended to me, and whenever they were about Illy, they'd always put my sick friend in the title, and already from there I already knew that something was going on, something was definitely wrong, but I never expected this to be the outcome, and I just wish I was there to see Drumsy and Illy for as long as I possibly could. I wish I didn't just dig out of that whole channel late into 2022. I wish I just was there to see everything. And now that Illy is gone, it's just it feels like I missed something. And I never talked to Illy in person at all, but she's felt more close to me than anyone else has before. I'd like to go over how I got into Drumsy, because I feel like that would make for a more interesting bit. Drumsy's channel practically helped me get through the pandemic, COVID-19. I discovered Drumsy's channel around right when the pandemic happened. The very first video I watched was which one was it? It was the one where they went to Disney World, and the one where they go to Disney World and they bring Nodus, the little kid. Nodus is hilarious. We can all admit he's so funny. That one video just stuck with me forever. That's probably one of the best Drumsy videos of all time. It is just, to this day, it's still hilarious. The very first video I watched with Illy in it, I don't remember the name of it, but it was the one where all I remember is she said that one thing about when she was a baby, her parents gave her a bottle of sour cream. You remember that one? Later in the video, Illy's mom took over her headset and had a sort of deep, meaningful conversation about Illy as a person, as Illy was just screaming from the bathroom. Y'all remember that video? Because that was the first one I discovered Illy from. And ever since, the more I paid attention to Illy, the more she became someone I looked up to. I remember that video where she got drunk, and then she had that a pretty deep and vulnerable conversation with Drumsy about how she was always a misfit, weird kid who never got along with anyone, and how it was just such a sweet relief for her to reach adulthood, because she wouldn't have to deal with being bullied for being different as in high school. And and it showed teenage me that no matter how hard teenage years or high school years get, the sweet relief of adulthood will always come. And that's one thing I really value about Illy. She made it very clear that no matter how dark things get, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And that was something that she made very clear in a lot of her videos. It's also very nice when Illy's mom shows up and actually has really nice things to say. It's not very common you see a mother as supportive as Illy's mom, and to see her be as supportive as she is through everything and say all these great things about her and value her as a person despite being, the way she is it's very empowering, to say the least. Also, from that same video where she got drunk, and I really like the part where Drumsy said like he noticed that most YouTubers edit out like the parts that they don't want their audience to see, but Illy doesn't care. Like, she wants them to see everything. And that's something I also value about Illy. She's very unfiltered, and regardless of what people say, it's just like she doesn't care. Like, she doesn't care what people say, and whether that's the life you want to live or not, knowing that people will judge you, but no matter how unhinged you are, you can just go as far as, and that's something that, many people need to learn in their life. Like, you kind of got to be yourself, and not everyone is going to like you, but, that's just sort of how it is. And no matter how many people don't like you, there's always going to be, like, people who will be there for you no matter what. And that's something that I feel like Illy definitely makes people resonate with her. Sorry if these words don't make too much sense, because obviously I'm not putting much thought into them. I'm trying to remember other things I remembered about Illy. I remember that one video where she did the singing video, and she did that cover of, what was it, Can't Help Falling in Love. Everyone knows that song. It's by Elvis. Everyone knows that song. That was very beautiful, especially when I first watched it. And I could only imagine that it's gonna hit hard if I watch it now that she's passed away. Like, that's the thing, like, with Drumsy videos, another thing is that Illy's always kind of been the emotional core. Like they weren't afraid to show, like, emotional and personal and heartwarming moments when it came to showing Illy on camera. I mean, most of the time she was just being funny and, herself and all goofy. But she wasn't afraid to get vulnerable and be sympathetic, and she wasn't afraid to be the emotional core of Drumsy as a whole. And I think a lot of that goes back to, like, what she's dealt with and how that's made her into the person she is. And how can I not talk about a video like this without mentioning the rigged game show video? So I lost interest in Drumsy around like late 2022. I don't know what it is. I think the humor was I just stopped caring for that humor that, Drumsy did. It was, but I don't know. Whatever it was, I stopped watching Drumsy, for better or worse, in 2022. But one of the last videos that I knew I had to see was that game show video back in the day. Like, I knew I had to see that one. And it was, if you were an Illy fan in 2022, that video was absolutely gut-wrenching. A completely, like, bittersweet video, Completely bittersweet video. Illy winning the game show, Drumsy giving her all these crazy things, the money and the Milky Way bars, and at the very end, the whole booked flight, and she went to see Drumsy and all that. I actually have no idea if she actually saw him or not. I'd like to say that she did, but they just didn't get that on video because, I don't know, maybe she didn't want it to get on video because it was definitely something more personal. But I don't know. I have not caught up with Drumsy since, but I have been aware of certain things. Like, I knew, like, Illy went through a breakup, I'm pretty sure. I think her ex was, like, his name was Mikey or something. Yeah, like, she went through a breakup, and then And as I mentioned before, like all the like videos where they mentioned that, like I was aware of like her being in the hospital, and like I thought that was all gonna be okay in the end, but looks like it wasn't. I don't really know what else to say when it comes to like Drumsy and Illy as a whole. Well, other than the fact that like Drumsy definitely helped me go through the pandemic, that's one thing. Illy obviously helping me go through the pandemic as well. She was always my favorite. Like ever since I first started watching Drumsy, she was always the one that, you know, I valued the most. And I'd say I remember hearing a lot of other things about Drumsy now. Like I believe like Moxie doesn't do stuff with Drumsy anymore. Like he doesn't show up in videos. I don't know anything about that. I think Drumsy has a new girlfriend, and that's something. Y'all remember Brooke? You know, his ex. Yeah, Brooke. What other people do you remember? I remember Pay Money Wubby and Yen and the French guy. Unfortunately, if you know, you know. God, I remember so many of those like old ass Drumsy videos, especially the ones with Illy. Remember that that anime train one? That one was hilarious. You know, the one where Illy may or may not have said the N-word. That one's great. Oh yeah, the one where the I watched Drumsy for the plot. That video was good. The one where he spread his friend's ashes in Japan and they went on a kooky little adventure. Yeah, good times, man. Good times. Those were simpler times. I don't know if I said this before in the video, but like I remember I used to call Illy my idol at one point, and honestly, there's calling Illy of all people your idol. I mean it makes sense knowing that she's very like independent and positive and kind to others and very unapologetically herself, and also very confident. So I can see why she's definitely an idol for people, especially 14-year-old me. I don't know what else to say, so I'm probably gonna wrap this up by saying thank you, Illy. Thank you for everything. I may not have spoken to you in person, but you were closer to me than anyone else honestly is these days. Rest in peace, Illy. Fly high with the unicorns.